This is a very tragic, awful story. But I share it with you because I believe it's important to acknowledge the existence of evil, to bring an awareness to a case like this, so that maybe if you're witness to a case like it, you'll do something about it. There is a story about a little boy in New York named Thomas Valva. Beautiful little boy. He was 8 years old. He had autism. And he was loved. But not loved apparently by the parents who were raising him. And it breaks my heart that the man who was arrested in this little boy's death was a police officer, an NYPD cop. Now, this is a very difficult story to listen to, but I believe so strongly in sharing an evil act to raise awareness. There are monsters around us. There are people who treat children worse than we would treat an animal. The police and the authorities allege that this NYPD officer and his fiancée tortured and killed this little 8-year-old boy. They subjected this little boy to freezing temperatures in the family garage. It was 19 degrees outside. And evidently or allegedly, and they know this reportedly because of surveillance cameras that they had set up all throughout the inside of the house. And they have these kids and they would torture their children, say the authorities. And in this little boy's case, there's video evidently or allegedly of him being banished to the garage, the unheated garage, to sleep for the weekend on the cement floor. No blanket, no cover, no mattress. He had to sleep shivering on the floor. There was video allegedly of him falling down on his face, and these two alleged monster parents would say, "Why is he falling down?" And the wife said, or the fiance said, "Well, he's got hypothermia. That's what you do when you have hypothermia." And the NYPD officer dad allegedly said, "Boo effing who? He's cold." This little boy was shivering, begging. He died. He died of hypothermia. And in fact, they allege that this NYPD officer dad was so desperate to exonerate himself that he took this boy's little lifeless, shivering, cold body and he immersed him in a warm bathtub for a while to try to raise his body temperature. Even after that, when they got him to the hospital, his body temperature was 76 degrees. This little boy suffered an unspeakable, horrific, torturous death. His funeral was yesterday. At the homily, the family, the bishop of the church where this funeral was held, the bishop told the mourners, Thomas was just a little boy, just wanted to be loved, wanted to be hugged, wanted to be cherished. He wanted to be wanted. He was a gift. And this bishop who baptized the little boy as a baby said that our system had failed. And here's the part. We already know that if these charges are true, there will be a special place in hell for these monsters who did this to this child. But here's the worst part. The fiance is like the stepmother. The boy's biological mother lost custody of the boy in a bitter child custody dispute with this man. So she lost custody a few years ago. Do you know she has been tweeting for a year about the way this child was being abused? She had videos of the way he was being abused by these people. She was crying out for help. for a long time before this boy was killed. And she was begging people to help her. She kept calling Child Protective Services. They went out to the home. Well, the family wasn't there one day. Then they went to another place. He fell through the cracks. They knew there was abuse going on. The officials knew something bad was happening here. And do you know that this boy was never rescued? He died the most unspeakable death you could imagine. And the pictures of this little boy, this smiling, fresh-faced, beautiful child, sleeping on the garage floor, the cement floor, in 19-degree weather. It is one of his brothers, a 10-year-old little boy named Anthony, read a verse from the Bible at the funeral yesterday. He said, "Good is the Lord to the one who waits for him." It is a horrifying story. And the fact, and I looked at the biological mother's tweets, they go way back. They go back a year or two. She was saying, this man, my ex-husband, is abusing my child. My child has special needs. He's autistic. He is blah, blah, blah. No one helped them. No one helped them. And that child suffered this kind of death. So the reason I share, and I don't mean to break you down, the reason I share it with you, I don't mean to bring you down and all that, but it's because it's a horrifying story. And I'm watching the look of on Pavlina's face and Eric's face and Derek and Lance. Just hearing the story just turns your stomach into knots. I mean, it's terrible to think that any adult, if these charges are true, again, I understand, innocent until proven guilty, there'll be a trial, we will see. They say there's video evidence of all of it. If it's true, evil is real. Evil is not an illusion. And more importantly, if you're aware of this kind of thing happening in your neighborhood with a neighbor, with a family member, with a friend, please do what you can to help. I saw a video the other day also in New York City of a woman who was trapped under a car. And you know what? Like 30 people, bystanders, all came and lifted that car off the woman. It was such a beautiful video. You know, it's New York City. Everybody says, New Yorkers, they're also... All these good Samaritans came from everywhere to try to help this lady, and she's going to be okay. We do care. People do have a caring, loving spirit. And if we're not caring for the most innocent among us, then we're nothing. We're nobody. We're worthless. This child had nobody. Nobody. And there's more horrors to this story that I'm not even going to share with you about these kids showing up at school soaked in urine. Just, it's awful. It's a horrifying. And the fascinating thing about it is, according to a former housekeeper or nanny, this family tried to keep up the pretense that they were like the Brady Bunch. The house is very nice. I mean, it's a nice house in the suburbs on Long Island. But how many times have we heard of that? There's a house of horrors behind those walls. How many times have we heard about cases of abuse, neglect, violence, evil? You got to make people aware. You got to make that call. I know the system fails us, and the system failed this child in a big way. It's absurd that there was this much warning with the biological mother desperately trying to warn everybody. It's maddening that there was notification. So, I don't know. I hope justice is served in this case, but this little boy is never coming back, and it just rips my heart out. This story hurts my soul. And if there's any good I can do on this radio show that people listen to around the country, it's that I hope that a case like this will raise the level of awareness and make sure that if you have suspicions that something, is going on, make people aware of it, make the authorities aware of it. It might be a false alarm, but certainly better to be safe than sorry. We're in the ReliefFactor.com studios. Thanks for letting me get that off my chest.